to the affirmative. The affirmative will then have a rejoinder of 3 minutes at which the debate will end. Because yours truly has a class shortly, which is me, I'm going to have to be strict on keeping our times as they are, and the affirmative or the negative may not interrupt each other on individual speeches. If there is an interruption for each single interruption, either by affirmative or negative, the opposite side will be granted a 15-second extension to their speech as a penalty to the interrupter. As many of you will participate in debates, now time is gold. We prefer interruptions don't happen, as this will give each side exactly the same amount of time to speak, 13 minutes each. Any disruption by anyone is highly discouraged and inconsiderate, as we are all on tight schedules. It is disrespectful to all sides who have taken time out of their busy schedules to be here. That being said, the audience may applaud if they wish to support speakers, but keep in mind that it will cut into their time, and this may or may not be beneficial. For this reason, the audience is encouraged to please hold their applause until after the affirmative or negative time is up, as to give them a full chance to have the same amount of time of speaking time to keep things as fair as possible. It is my job to assure that the audience remains quiet and while speakers are talking, which means that I perfectly see fit whether or not to quiet the audience, whether it is in applause or disruption at my discretion. During cross-examination, affirmative or negative are encouraged to ask any questions they deem fit. Whoever is doing the cross-examining and asking questions is leading the interaction. The cross-examiner must give the opposite side a chance to answer each question, but also have it within their right to state that they will move on to the next question at any time, provided that they have given the other side a chance to answer. If the cross-examiner decides to make more statements than questions, it is within my discretion to remind them that they must ask questions. If the affirmative or the negative being questioned do not wish to answer a question, they have every right within their discretion to say they will not answer, provided they have a reason that they believe is not on topic, or whether or not it is a red herring, etc. Provided they give a reason, they are permitted to not answer a question. If they say they do not wish not to answer a question, but do not give a reason, cross-examiner may ask a question. If they have none, they may comment. I will say noted. Put this down a little bit. Make a tally on this sheet in the cross-examiner and move on. Neither side is forced to answer any question they make that they do not want. However, if no reason is given for any question, or only 2 questions are answered in a 3-minute segment, and no reason is given, the cross-examiner, whether negative or affirmative, will be granted an extra 2 minutes to their closing remarks to gain back the time that was wasted in respect to the cross-examiner and our audience. Person being questioned must answer at least 3 questions during this 3-minute segment to avoid this penalty. It is important that the audience notes that whichever speaker they support is at a detriment to both to interrupt either side. If you disrupt a speaker you do not agree with, and the other speaker cannot hear what has been said, it will be nearly impossible for him to rebut any points made. If the speaker on the opposite side sees a flaw with what is being said logically, it is beneficial for him to hear that point being made. It's hard to rebut what you can't hear. And also, because of the time of my class, I would ask that the audience be considerate. Speakers are encouraged to take notes during speeches and may add questions to their examination. Each time for affirmative or negative speakers, I will tell them the time that they have to speak. 1 minute before the speaker is done, I will ring this bell once. When time is expired, I will ring the bell twice. Speaker may finish his or her sentence, but if they continue too long, I will cut them off at my discretion. It should not take more than 5 seconds, but speakers will shake hands now as the debate is starting. When affirmative or negative are not speaking, they will sit down at the following table. Once the time is expired, I will say affirmative or negative, your time is expired. In conclusion, at the final bell, I will say this concludes our first debate. Thank you for coming. After that, we will take a short 10 to 15 minute intermission. Well, actually, we were going to have another debate after this, but we had problems, so that debate's going to happen next week. It's going to be about healthcare. It'll be Monday at 11:30, so don't forget to come here.
Really?
By the way, you guys do have a copy of the Lincoln Douglas debate, so you guys can keep on track with what's being said and who's speaking at which times. So you guys do know this debate is about immigration. This is one of the most controversial issues our country is facing right now. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people in this audience are passionate about this issue. So I hope you guys can learn something from our debaters, and you guys can grow from this experience. You may hear of a view that you never heard of. You may be shocked that you know something that you didn't know. So hopefully everyone can benefit from this debate and grow.
Woo!
So,
Yeah, Andrea!
So let's get these things rolling. Let's get started. Our first debater will be on the affirmative side. He will be pro-border security and pro-border wall. Please give applause for Andreas Kovac. This will be the affirmative case of pro-border security, pro-border wall. Andreas will be given about 6 minutes to present his affirmative case. When the time gets near, I will ring the bell. Andreas, please present your case.
Time started? In order to understand what something is, a lot of the times it must be clearly stated what it is not. Open borders is not compassionate. Not only is it not compassionate, it leads to violence, loss of life, criminal activity, and a loss of sovereignty. The first role of government is to protect the safety and security of its people. Without border security, government is actually failing at its primary role. A border wall saves taxpayers money. Without a border wall and border security, we are not a nation. Without a secure border, our people are not safe. Without a secure border, criminals, cartels, traffickers, and terrorists enter our country and hurt our people. In 2017, the Federation of American Immigration Reform broke down that the cost of illegal immigration to the U.S. taxpayer is about $115.9 billion annually. This also takes into account the $13 billion illegals pay annually. This wall would cost anywhere between $15 to $20 billion to make. According to the Heritage Foundation, we also spend $1 billion annually just on the illegal aliens across our border. A border wall would pay for itself very quickly, and a border wall keeps people safe. According to the Malia Zimmerman report, which has been widely cited, illegal immigrants are 3.5% of the United States population. They contribute to 13.6% of all national crime, 12% of all murders, about 1 in 8, and 16% of all human trafficking. We also have transnational gang activity. Between 2005 and 2014, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol estimated that about 4,000 members of the violent MS-13 gang here in the United States, a gang that is so horrific and demonic that it's kind of hard to describe them. They are responsible for beheadings, ripping out the hearts of live victims, sexual torture, amputating the hands of victims, running over victims with cars, gunshots to the back of the head, mutilation by machete, and slashing victims' stomachs open, in addition to just murder in general. 92% of these 4,000 were here illegally. That is an amazing rate. There is nothing compassionate about an immigration system that degrades and disregards American law. There's nothing compassionate about an immigration system that hurts legal immigrants, illegal immigrants, and Americans alike. To give people an idea of just how important U.S. Customs and Border Patrol is, in January of this year, a truck was seized, an 18-wheeler with a male in his mid-20s driving the truck. In this truck, U.S. Customs and Border Patrol reported the biggest drug bust of fentanyl in U.S. history. Fentanyl, for those of you who don't know, is the most lethal opioid today in existence. It is 50 times more powerful than heroin. It is 100 times more powerful than morphine. Within this one truck, in this single drug bust, there were 254 pounds of fentanyl. That is 114 kilograms. 1 kilogram is enough to kill 500,000 people. The contents of this shipment in this truck were enough to kill 57 million people. I want to say that again, 57 million people. 57 million people is 7 times the population of New York City. It is also, if you took the entire population of our country, about 1/6 of our nation dead. Also, there were 395 pounds of methamphetamine within the same truck. Now, the people who tell us they are so compassionate, actually, every single main Democratic primary candidate right now is actually trying to disassemble and abolish ICE and U.S. Customs Border Patrol that seized that truck. And I have to ask, is letting a truck that is able to kill 57 million people into the country compassionate? What would have happened to that truck had it gone to the minority community that it was probably headed for? Border Control has a huge drug problem. They seize many drugs at the border, and not only that, it accounts for 80% of our fentanyl, 88% of our cocaine, 87% of methamphetamine is all seized at the border. We have a large opioid crisis. Many of us studied the issue in our English papers, and yet at the same time, nobody wants to seem to mention this. Also, legal immigrants are also disenfranchised by this. Legal immigrants who have followed the process, been diligent, and have done everything within their power to try to get here as Americans. I don't think it is compassionate to simply allow these things to happen. I don't think it's compassionate that the same people who tell us they care about children of migrant immigrants also want to abolish ICE, which is the program that prevents them from being sex trafficked. I don't think it's permissible that we have an open border that allows crime, drugs, sex trafficking, and other issues. Looking at the statistics, it is untenable to me to call this a compassionate position. It is not a new position. It is not something that is controversial to believe that a nation has borders. It's not controversial to believe in the rule of law in the United States. I do not understand why it would be considered compassionate for these minority communities to continue to suffer because of drugs and other things. Thank you.
Now the negative will now cross-examine the affirmative by asking questions. He has a 3-minute period of time. You got negative, you may go ahead.
All right, no one is arguing for open borders, all right? That's one thing that we are not saying. What we're talking about is a humanitarian system that helps everybody that's already here. The 11 million immigrants that are already here. Why do I know that? Because I am an immigrant. I am a dreamer. I am the one that says that I'm a rapist, that I'm a criminal, and I'm going to examine you. Hold up. I just want to let
He's the
everybody
moderator.
know. I know. I've seen debates. I know what a debate is. And the things that you've said are wrong. What? Criminals are criminals. Drug dealers are affecting Latino American countries. MS-13 was an American gang that was deported to Latino America. They are the ones that are killing people like me, like people in this audience. This issue hurts my community. This issue is something that hurts us.
You
think we don't want to see
You have to
this?
ask me a question.
Yeah, I just want to tell the audience that what you said is not true. And why do you care about this issue?
Why do I care about this issue?
Tell me, why do you care?
I care about this issue because 1 in 8 people within the United States are murdered by an illegal immigrant.
Illegal immigrant or undocumented immigrant? That's the language that we have to fix. Language is something that we have to fix. Undocumented, not illegal or legal.
Do you think it's unfair to call somebody undocumented, like instead of illegal immigrant?
Just the rhetoric that is being spread.
An undocumented immigrant could be an Amish community citizen. An undocumented immigrant could be a member of a number of religious groups here in the United States.
What I'm telling you, what an undocumented immigrant is me. What I'm telling you is what it is, all right? It's not an Amish community member.
It's an undocumented person
that does not have papers here in the United States of America. I came here legally. I came here with a tourist visa, and I overstayed it, which means most people actually do that, which a border wouldn't do anything. Why? Because planes fly above borders. They will get over that fence, that border that Trump wants Mexico to pay, but he hasn't built it. He's already almost out of office. Where's that wall? Can't see it.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I just want to know why you think that telling these people lies will help your cause.
What statistic was a lie?
The lies that said that illegal immigrants are the ones that cause all the crimes, because statistically speaking, we don't.
That was the Malia Zimmerman report. Are you just giving statistics?
Yes, I am. Those are not
Your
real.
cross-examination is over. Negative, you may now construct your rebuttal, your constructive. We have 7 minutes to construct this.
All right. So I forgot to mention that my name is Miraim Sabil Hernandez Gavilan. I'm from Cuernavaca, Morelos, Mexico, and I came here when I was 6. And I am the president of Student Government Association, as well as vice president fellowship and public relations officer for Phi Beta Kappa. I know those are long titles, but I also mentioned that I'm a DACA recipient, meaning that I benefit from deferred action for childhood arrivals. And that is just something that I know I'm not the only one here. I know plenty of you that know undocumented immigrants in this community. And most of us know somebody, and even companies that have been started by it. Google, co-founded by an immigrant. eBay, co-founded by an immigrant. So, and even Tesla. All those things is what American is all about. America is all about coming here and making something out of yourself. And the statistics that said that immigrants drain that drain the economy is just a lie. We pay more into it than we get out. Why? Because we don't have those social security cards that says, here, help me. That is a lie, sir. You are lying to these people. We cannot get anything. Me, as a student, I cannot get any FAFSA, meaning I don't get any money that you can. And I pay for it. I've been working since I got here, all right? So that's one lie. Another crime is that illegal immigrants kill people. Who is the one that went to El Paso Walmart and killed 22 people? Huh? It wasn't an illegal immigrant. It was a homegrown terrorist. A white man came into Walmart and shot up people that look like me, that look like my family, that are from my community. That's the crime that I'm looking at. That's the crime that is coming to our communities. So let me talk about that some more. The drug war, who are they beheading? Who are they killing? Who are they shooting? People in my community. So stop saying these statistics are just lies. Just stop. You're not helping your case. You're not helping anybody. Everybody here sees right through that, all right? Immigrants actually commit less crime. Immigrants don't do that crime. Why? Because we know that we work so hard to get here. Why would you do something stupid when you sacrificed everything? When you sacrificed leaving your family? That just doesn't make sense. Does it? No, it does not. So let's just use common sense, because I know everybody in this room has that. I mean, we're in college, right? So think about that. And yeah, I just wanted to do this debate not only to stand up to racist rhetoric that's being spewed, but to fight back against organizations like Young Americans for Freedom, Turning Point USA, and the Republican Party. We see that all around. Trump said that I'm bringing drugs, I'm bringing crime, that I'm a rapist. Well, no, I'm not. He's the one that's the criminal. He's the one that is a rapist. He's the one that's doing everything that he's accusing the immigrant community of doing. That's right. All right? That's just, we see right through that. So stop saying, oh, we're gonna build a wall, because that's not gonna fix anything. And it wouldn't pay itself back. Come on now, stop playing with yourself. It's just a non-issue that even Ronald Reagan wouldn't stand for. The Ronald Reagan that you idolize, the Ronald Reagan that the Republican Party loves, he was the biggest amnesty giver in United States history. He gave 2.6 million undocumented immigrants green cards. Would you be against your Ronald Reagan? Come on now, stop playing. It's just one thing. That it's the facts. In the Fox News poll, 83% of Fox News viewers agreed that we should grant undocumented citizens citizenship. Why? Because it will help not only the economy grow, but it's the right moral thing to do. All right, so if you want to see what an undocumented immigrant looks like, I'm right here. This is what an undocumented immigrant looks like. I'm the president of student government, and I'm doing pretty good, guys. I'm not trying to flex on y'all, but I'm doing really good for an undocumented immigrant that didn't speak English. But now look, I can speak it. And that's something that I bring to the table. And if you want to deport me, that's your loss. I'm gonna be making money in other countries and it's gonna be competing against the United States. But I don't want to do that. I want to help these United States of America, all right? And most Americans want to do that. Most Americans want to keep undocumented immigrants like myself in this country. It might just be a little racist to say, oh, go back to your country just because the color of our skin. This is the only thing that separates us. Would he have said that to Melania Trump, his wife? Come on now. He's not for undocumented immigrants. He's against brown and black immigrants, all right? And that's just the truth. Why? Because we see it through his policies. He has 12 kids. 24 kids have actually died under border security. One 16-year-old by the same last name as me, Hernandez, was sitting in a border security cell dying. He was throwing up all alone. He was 16, everybody. He was throwing up the whole night, all by himself, and he died. This administration and the policies that they have pushed and the policies that you're pushing are killing people. They're killing people that look like me, that sound like me, my brothers and sisters. And I will not stand for it. And that's what I'm doing with this. That's why I tell everybody, register to vote. Be the voice for the voiceless. Because to be honest, I cannot vote. I wish I could. I wish I could run for office and run you out. Because you're not doing the right thing and the right thing for every American. And I have one more minute, but I've said what I've said. And to be honest, most people agree with me. And I thank you for doing this debate, but it's a non-issue. Most Americans don't agree with you. Most Americans see right through you and those statistics that you've been claiming, all right? And to be honest, anybody that needs help that is undocumented, come talk to me. There's resources here at CLC that will help you. I haven't paid a dime here at the College of Lake County, and I'm looking at a full ride for my 2 years that I have left, all right? So if you know me or don't know me, it's okay. Come talk to me. B106 is my office. I am all for you. I will fight for you. And don't listen to any of this rhetoric that says that you're a criminal, that you're a rapist, that you won't amount to anything just for a piece of paper. You will do this. Porque si se puede y si podemos, all right? And if you understand that, good. If you don't, come talk to me, all right?
All right. Time's out. No, you stay up there, man. You stay up there, because I'm cross-examining you. All right. You said si se puede, right? You're quoting Cesar Chavez?
No, I was quoting Dolores Huerta. So let's learn about our history.
It was also made famous by Cesar Chavez, correct?
Yeah, that was her. She made it though. So please give her credit for what she did.
Right. But when Cesar Chavez used it in his September 25th, 1972 interview in KQED, and it's on YouTube, you can actually look it up, he was actually arguing against illegal immigration because he said that it took away the rights of the workers to boycott and strike. And therefore, he actually did very much despise illegal immigration. He actually led a march against it with Walter Mondale, who worked with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Why is it, if it's racist to have illegal immigrants, would a legal Mexican immigrant and a Hispanic hero be so against it?
The Chicano movement is something that I learned about, and when they did that strike was because they saw that the employers, the farmers, were abusing those immigrant workers. He wasn't racist. Stop playing with me.
But he was against
Let me talk real quick.
Okay, go
Let
ahead.
me talk. All right, so he wasn't racist because his parents were immigrants and they would work and they saw the horrible living conditions that these big farms were causing. They're doing the same thing. You see the big corporations?
We're going into corporations, but he was against
American corporations are using undocumented immigrants, just like Donald J. Trump.
But you haven't answered my question.
I'm answering it right now.
How is it racist was the question.
That wasn't the question.
That is the question.
All right, how was it racist? It was not racist, and because he didn't do it how Trump is doing it.
How is Trump doing it?
Trump is using immigrants for cheap labor. He's saying,
right, I think that's wrong. But
Then
how
send
is
him
Trump,
to jail. If it's wrong,
how
let's
is
do something
Trump
about
using illegal immigrants?
Just look at his words, bro.
it. He is.
I want to move on to my next question. Can you point to any other country, not our own, where mass illegal immigration has tremendously benefited the country?
Are you serious? Any other country that you can see? Canada in our north.
Do you have statistics to prove that?
Oh,
You said statistics were lies. Can you prove that my statistics were lies?
Look at me when you're talking to me, all right?
Okay.
All right.
I'm trying to talk into the microphone. Can you prove that my statistics were lies?
Time is up. It is now time for the affirmative rebuttal of the negative. Mr. Proback, please make the case.
How the hell you can just listen to Trump, you can connect the dots and see racism. How dumb he can be,
You can applaud him, by the way, if you want. All right, you tell me when to start.
You may start now.
All right. He said, I want to address a few things that my friend has said. One of the things is that he said it is racist for any person who is following the immigration program to come here legally. He was saying that if you are against illegal immigration, you are a racist.
Nobody said that. That's not what he said.
He said it's racist rhetoric. He said it's racist
Turn back the
rhetoric.
recording. I know we're recording.
We're
this.
recording it, so you can actually look back on this.
Audience, do not interrupt. He is speaking.
15-second extension.
You can get a 15-second extension.
All right. A border wall would not work. Border walls are not new. We actually have 669 miles of current border wall today. In San Diego, the crime rate after the 1980s when they erected it has gone down 60% to 2019. That is a statistic. You can look it up in the government statistics in the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, as well as the police. Not only that, but in the Yuma sector, in the Tucson sector, and many different areas, illegal immigration has gone down by 90%. Saying walls don't work is a lot like saying wheels don't work. Just because it's a former invention doesn't mean that it's out of place. And another thing that I do not understand is why so many people on the border will constantly say that we need a border patrol wall, borders work, they would help us, and yet they're completely ignored. When's the last time you saw a border patrol activist or a border patrol person who works there on ICE or on the border on CNN on an interview? I can't remember the last time I saw it. But when they request something and they live it day in and day out and they say we need it, I don't understand why it's illogical or laughable to say that they do. Why would they be lying to us about that? It's a lot like saying, it would be like a nurse asking, be like a doctor asking a nurse for a scalpel in the middle of a surgery and the nurse saying, oh, you don't need a scalpel. Why would you need a scalpel? Scalpels don't work. That's completely medieval. If somebody in a field that works there every single day is telling us they need something and that it would help them, I'm guaranteed to believe that it would help them. Statistics show that it does. Tucson, Yuma, so many different institutions, immigration has gone down by 90%. In Israel erected a wall. They reduced their illegal immigration percentage by 99%. We had 16,000 people coming in 2017, according to PolitiFact. It dropped down to less than 20. Can you really tell me that Israel's border wall was not effective? Also, why is it racist to believe that Mexicans can follow a legal process? I think it's racist to assume that all Mexicans have to go through illegally. I think it's racist to assume that Mexicans don't have the moral equivalency or the moral IQ to figure out that what they're doing is wrong or breaking the law. Why is it racist for a Mexican immigrant to follow the law? I know many people here who are immigrants, and they follow the law. So why is it so racist to say to follow the law? It's not, exactly. No audience disruption, no. Sorry.
The immigration process is broken.
No audience interruption, 15-second extension.
You just interrupted. Come on, now.
I did. I counted that. And you interrupted as well.
I'll interrupt.
Why is it that we have so many statistics that say that borders work, and yet we're still denying that borders work? But not only that, it hurts legal immigrants. Legal immigrants are disenfranchised, and it makes the process harder for them. I want as many people as possible to come into the country legally. I wouldn't be here without somebody coming in legally. My mother was an immigrant. She followed the process. She did the due diligence.
The affirmative will get 30 seconds additional. You will get 30 seconds additional because of the 2 interruptions. Thank you.
Why is it racist to assume that every single immigrant from Mexico has to be illegal? It is racist. Why can't they follow the law? Everybody else does. Everybody is created equal in the United States of America. There's no group that is more equal than others. We are all accountable to the law.
I say the affirmative time has been expired. The negative may now present his rebuttal to the affirmative. Please begin your case, Mr. Hernandez.
All right. So you say you can stay. So you're saying that we don't follow the law, right? You're saying that, right?
According to U.S. Code,
All right.
violation.
So yes or no?
13.
So you said yes. All right.
Yeah.
Well, there is no way for me to become a citizen. I came here legally. I overstayed my tourist visa. That happens. Most of the immigrants that are here did that. So the wall is not working. And please don't compare the United States to Israel, that occupationist country that is putting Palestinian people in an oppressive state. All right, they're treating them in an open air prison in the Strip of Gaza. So please don't compare the United States to a nation that is not democratic at all. So Israel, that's out. Don't even mention that. All right, free Palestine. All right, so what we're gonna be talking about is the legal way to get here. It's so hard to get in here, all right? And Trump is already trying to get rid of chain migration, which is funny how he used it for his father-in-law and mother-in-law. So I guess it's just a different standard for Caucasian people, all right? Well, yeah, I came here, my mom falsified some papers. Why? Because I couldn't live there. I grew up without a father. They killed him. The narcos, the drug dealers that are killing Americans, they're killing Americans. And they killed my father, all right? So don't bring that issue up to me, all right? He was a cop. And what happened in Mexico? Either you work with the narcos or you don't. And they killed him. That's the issue, all right? So we try to make it legal. I'm trying to get my citizenship. I'm trying to make it right. But there's no way. There's no rope for me to hold on to and pull myself up. There's no bootstraps to wrap around my legs and help me. I want to help these United States, but there's nothing that I can do. What I can do is be a student, be an advocate for those that can't, all right? So look at me. I'm trying to do this legally. There's just no way. Look at me. I'm trying to make this right. It's just, I can't. Okay? And we have to understand that. We have to go in our government and create a system that works for everybody. I know some people here that are undocumented. I know some people here that came here and got the blessing to become an American citizen. And I want that to be everybody's story because it's a beautiful thing. I'm telling everybody, once I get my citizenship, I'm gonna cry. Why? Because that's how much it means to me. So don't tell me that we don't want to do it legally. It's just that there's no choice, all right? If you're drowning, you don't ask, oh, is this the right boat to get onto? No, you get on the boat and you go, all right? That's just the facts, all right? Come on now. And I don't know, Republicans or Christians, help thy neighbor, our Statue of Liberty, send me you're bored, send me you're hungry. Let's live by that. Look, I have it in my sticker right here, bro. Let's do that.
Negative time expired. The affirmative may present his rebuttal to the negative, and this will be the final segment of the debate. Affirmative, please go ahead.
How much time do I have?
At 4 minutes, affirmative.
So I want to address a few things that my friend has said. My friend said drug dealers killed your father. Is that correct? Okay, you have my condolences for that. But I don't understand why it is wrong for us to want to deport criminals who kill people. As you said, it's hurting Americans. It's hurting people like you. It hurts somebody like you. Why is it so hard to deport other people and other things. Wait, I'm not done. This is the last section. Okay, you didn't say anything. You're right. Also, you mentioned Reagan and the amnesty. Yeah, Reagan gave amnesty. Did it solve the problem? Why are we talking about this? If Reagan's amnesty was really the by-all, end-all, and we should just do that again, you and I and people like us are just going to be talking 20 years from now about the same thing. It makes it harder for people like you when we have an open border. I want people like you. I want people who are contributing to the United States.
Then why are you deporting people like me? Why are you deporting?
We're not. 66,
yes, you are.
66% of the ICE deported were criminal felons. 21% had federal charges on them. I would not say that the majority is people like you, and you're not committing subsequent crime. You're doing really well for yourself. So why can't we find people like you in Mexico? What is so wrong about having a vetting process for the United States? What would it look like if we had no vetting process for our jobs, or people that, or functions of society, or government? If we had just absolutely no restrictions, nothing. Open borders is not helping the United States. It's not helping people like you. And you know what? If we had a shut border, maybe we could talk about how to legalize the citizens here. In January of this year, our president wanted to give amnesty to 1.8 million DACA dreamers, and yet they were shut down. They were shut down. So that's not a hoax. You can look it up. It's on a CNN reported it. You're interrupting me, sir.
Interruptions.
You're interrupting me. My friend brought up that we have a problem, and he also brought up the Statue of Liberty. I myself am a Christian. I believe in charity. I believe in the Statue of Liberty. But at the same time, if we have people who come here, if I invite a homeless person into my home, and he decides to attack my younger brother, he's no longer welcome in my home. If we have an illegal immigrant who commits a murder, he's no longer welcome in this country. If we have immigrants who are drug trafficking, as they are, enough to kill 57 million people in one single drug bust, they are not welcome in the United States. If you want to protect the United States is an ideal. The United States is one of the greatest countries on earth, and we need to protect that idea from those who would cause it harm. Drug dealers, sex traffickers, and others. We talk about the sex trafficking epidemic. Only 1% of it is reported, and Jaco Boyens and other people who have consistently been spoken out against it have said not only would Border Patrol help and border security and a border barrier help, it's vital. We have little kids. Every single kid who crosses the border over the age of 9 has to have a pregnancy test if they are a girl. You tell me how that's not a humanitarian crisis. You tell me how a border wouldn't help. Also, what's separating kids from the family? It's a talking point. Because if it wasn't, why are they separated from their families? They're separated from their families because a parent or an adult took them over, and now they have overstayed. If we had a border to prevent that, would more people be separated from their families? No. So we'd actually, if we had a border, we'd actually have less kids separated from their families, which is heartbreaking to watch. But people don't prefer that because they'd rather have a border open and more people separated from their families.
Again, we don't want open borders. We don't want open borders. Do I have to write it down in the sky for you to understand that? That's
I'd like a 15-second extension just to answer this question, just because I was interrupted.
Why should you?
You're asking me a question. I'm allowing you to answer. Okay, abolishing ICE, abolishing U.S. Customs and Border Patrol is open borders. Not detaining children or not detaining adults is open borders. It's a catch and release policy. That is open borders. You can't argue anything else. Even Tulsi Gabbard in a recent Democratic debate, and actually on the Rubin Report, said that that is open borders. How can you not call that open borders?
All right, I don't like Tulsi Gabbard, so please don't associate my policies with hers.
The debate is expired.
I can talk still. I'm not for...
You cannot talk still. I have organized this debate. The debate is over.
Well, I can talk right here because it's our campus, all right? That mic is not mine, so I'm going to use...
But it's my platform that I gave you.
Okay, time is up, all right? Everybody, it's rude. What's rude?
I have to go to class, so...
You have to go. It's locking up kids in
No longer have a
cages. That
moderator.
is